When it comes to making society and the world a better place a day at a time, you have the best strategy for it. You are indeed the best strategy for change. Whatever change you need in your neighborhood, in your community, in your area, in your region, in your country, in society, and in the world, you are the best person to bring it about. You are indeed the best strategy for change. You are your own best strategy for change. When it comes to bringing about positive change, you are your own best change agent. Whether you're a girl, a boy, a grown man, or a grown woman, a senior citizen, or from those categories, whether you are a leader or ordinary citizen, you have a central role to play to make society a little better, a little safer, more peaceful, more trouble-free, and more prosperous a day at a time. The times we live in are different from the times our forefathers lived in. We are at a vantage point in history. First, we have bounties of correct information everywhere. Secondly, falsehood and misinformation have no place and they are easily decipherable these days. Fourthly, we have also some level of complexity anywhere, inherently and by default. That calls for one thing. We must always resort to wisdom by default and on principle every day and always as much as possible. In other words, we must develop a habit of resorting to wisdom deliberately and as profusely as possible. We don't have to rely on assumptions. Assumptions, as you know, can be wrong. And we don't have to be wrong when we know we have the answer. We only have to take a little time every day to reflect on whatever we engage in, resort to wisdom before we plunge into it. We must be able every time and always to think far beyond what we are used to. We must consider matters in ways that we haven't done before or in the way that others have not done before. In other words, we must consider all options, all avenues, all alternatives, all outlooks. We don't have to rely on one way of thinking. We must apply creativity and innovativeness to every situation. We must be as pragmatic and as holistic as possible, but even then, as practicable, as realistic, and as judicious as possible. As we have mentioned before, always make sure you are safe 24/7 indefinitely. Make sure also people around you are also safe 24/7 indefinitely. Your safety comes first, then the safety of those around you, and then the safety of the public. When we talk of the public, we must look at it from a holistic viewpoint. The public includes you, includes your neighbors, includes your family, includes your workmates, includes your employees, your supervisors. So if you have a role to protect the interests of the public, the health and safety of the public, make sure you also have a role to protect the health, safety, and interests of your employees, your family, your workmates, your neighbors, and people in your household, and everybody. So public includes everybody. When we talk of the public, it includes literally everybody. When we talk of customers also, it includes everybody. Remember, you are also a customer somewhere. In other words, everybody on earth is inherently a customer. So when we talk of taking care of customer interests, make sure you don't forget also the people in your household, the people you work with, either as your fellow workmates, your supervisors or your peers, your colleagues, or your subordinates, or your employees, and your traditional customers, and the general public. Literally, everybody is a customer, even your leaders. Your top leaders are also customers. So when we talk of taking care of their safety, the safety and interests and the health of the customers, we must know that includes everybody, literally everybody. That brings us to one thing. Many people bully their employees or their subordinates deliberately and on purpose for ulterior motives. Parents, there are some parents also bully their children. In school, there may be teachers who bully students, or even students who bully other students. Where bullying takes place, there's always a mastermind behind it. In other words, there is a person who protects bullies and who sends such people to bully others. At home, you may have a parent who is a bully. So he may be telling his children to bully other children in the neighborhood, or even inciting his wife to do, or his wife or anybody else to bully others. If it's the wife who is a bully, she also be telling the children to bully other kids outside. Or she may also be inciting other women to bully members of their families. In other words, bullies never stop where they are. They always extend their game elsewhere. At work, when you have an employee being bullied and people look at it helplessly, normally there's somebody with a lot of influence behind it. And such a mastermind, there may be somebody who is considered responsible and respectable. But the fact that such a person masterminds bullying leaves a lot to be desired. Why should anybody bully another? Why does bullying take place at home, at work, or in school? In this time and age, we don't have to have bullying anywhere. Why should kids, small kids, be bullied in their homes, or even in school, or elsewhere? We must strive to make our homes, our workplaces, our schools a haven of safety. We must make sure everybody at home, at work, and in school is safe from abuse and bullying all the time. People bully because they want to send a psychological message to the victims. So we have a message to those who bully and those who mastermind bullying. Stop it. It is known wherever you are who you are. And we live in the modern age where things never go hidden forever. So you better stop your game of masterminding, bullying, and discrimination. Whether you are doing it at home, at work, or in school, better stop it. Don't harm any child or adult. Don't harm any senior citizen in any way. Stop bullying. To those who are intended to be victims of bullying, we say this: never see yourselves as victims. Every time there is an attempt by anybody to bully you, you must know this: you are not the victim. The bully is the victim of circumstances. Probably such a bully is feeling insecure where you are, and such a bully wants to send a message that he or she is in control. In other words, he or she wants to send a psychological message that you are inferior to them. But the converse is normally the case. When people bully, it means they have a deficiency in their emotions and psychological makeup. They have issues they fear dealing with. So we urge bullies to deal with their own issues without bullying others. To the intended victims, you must know bullies are victims of their own attitudes, their own tendencies, or other people's pressure. In other words, they are bullies who are pushed by masterminds or pulling to bully some people who are targeted for one reason or another. So if you see people trying to bully or abuse you, either physically or verbally, you must know this. You are not a victim, and you must never see yourself as a victim. So the villain, that's the person who's trying to bully, is a victim also. And the mastermind is a villain and is a bully also. So see yourself as somebody who has a right and dignity to be protected. You don't have to resort to negative thinking or negativity or violence in any way. You only need to take charge of yourself, your emotions, your moods, and what you say and what you do every time, and stand proudly and continue doing what you are doing. But if the bullying goes physical or becomes too much, then you must take legal action. Legal action doesn't mean confronting the police. Because if it is organized bullying and you confront them, it might lead to something that will display that you are the negative person in that area. So what you should do, resort to wisdom. See all avenues you can handle the situation amicably and legally. Report such a bullying in ways that are allowed by the law. If you know there are people who will cover it up, never report it to them. Report it to where you can get help. Most importantly, never see yourself as a victim. Because if you do, then you may feel bad. You may feel bitter and negative. And actually, you are not the victim. The people masterminding it, the people doing it are the victims. And they want to perfect such a polling to send a message that they are in control, while actually they aren't. So polling is undesirable, unnecessary, intolerable, foolish, and it should not be tolerated. So there are ways people bully others. They use words or gossip or rumors. They use utterances, erratic, random utterances.